On the afternoon of April 3rd, 2024, Jared Hyers and two others entered the Plura cave system just 40 minutes outside of Rana, Norway. Looking to reach the wedding chamber feature of the cave, the group experienced an emergency which left one man dead and added another death to the rising number at the Plura cave. This is the story of Jared Hyers. Jared was born and raised in the cave diving hotspot of northern Florida. His father, Lamar Hyers, founded the Dive Right Diving Company in 1984, and in turn, Jared jumped headfirst into the dive culture from an early age. Growing up during the golden age of technical diving, Jared's first dive memory was from the mid-1990s, when at age 5 he first sampled breathing underwater from his father Lamar's regulator. At around 14, Jared began his formal dive training and helped in any way his father asked around the dive shop, taking calls and price tagging products. At just age 15, he became the youngest closed-circuit rebreather diver to have been certified. Describing diving as his escape and happy place, he went on to develop his cave diving skills through regular local experiences, but also became a scuba diving instructor at 18. He described this certificate as significant for him because it was his first he had achieved independently from his father. He went on to become a TDI technical rebreather cave and cavern instructor and said he was always destined to continue in the family business. After graduating from the University of Florida in 2013, he continued to gain all-around experience in manufacturing, servicing, and the marketing side of the business, and quickly took over the role of Dive Right's general manager. Besides exploring local caves, his favorite being Little River Springs near his home in Lake City, Jared traveled extensively to dive, frequently with his dad Lamar, or as he called him, his go-to buddy. He had dived challenging systems all around the world, including the Giant Cave in Belize, Russia's Orda Cave, and other locations in Norway, Israel, and the Bahamas. In 2020, he told Diver Magazine how despite feeling so at home in caves, his favorite non-diving pastimes had to include motorcycling and college football. The Plura cave system at this time is Northern Europe's longest and deepest cave system discovered. Of the 200 plus caves in that area, most of them are undivable, but those that are have become a popular cave diving destination. The Plura cave attracts thousands of visitors each year as it was first dived in 1980. Despite Plura's diving popularity, the number of fatalities are relatively low, with only a few of them being fairly notable. In 2006, the body of a Norwegian diver was discovered from the cave almost 2 weeks after he was reported missing. Inspectors found damage to his equipment that had likely resulted in an out-of-air situation. Later in 2014, 2 Finnish divers died and 3 suffered decompression sickness after venturing more than a kilometer into Plura. The accident resulted in a temporary closure of the cave system after a recovery dive was deemed too dangerous. A group of Finnish divers later retrieved the bodies, and with that, the cave was opened back up to the public for other dives. 2 years previously to the fateful dive, Jared Hyers had dived the Plura cave, saying afterwards how much he loved the dive. It was only a matter of time before he went back for another. In April of 2024, he found himself back at the mouth of the cave, being a part of a group of 9 multinational divers ready to explore further. On the morning of April 3rd, Jared was a part of a team of 3, planning to execute a checkup dive in preparation for a deeper dive the following day. The team wanted to confirm that all their gear was in working order after a long trip to Norway. All 3 divers used adequate equipment that they were familiar with and wore adequate thermal protection for the dive. Being the first dive of the trip, 2 of the 3 divers in the group had been in this cave system years before. The plan was for Jared to take up the rear and the other Plura experienced diver to lead the group, with the inexperienced diver being in the middle. The first half of the dive was uneventful. After about 30 minutes, the group reached the wedding chamber, which has a massive air pocket allowing the group to surface. As the dive was planned as a circuit and the wedding chamber marked the approximate halfway point of the trip, the team briefly discussed and confirmed that all equipment was in working order and that everyone was feeling good about the next part of the dive. After about 2 minutes at the surface, the group dipped back under the water in the same formation they entered. The next descent was also uneventful for the divers until minute 16. At this point, Jared's diver log showed a sudden descent, going from 25 meters to 29 meters in less than 20 seconds. At this point, the diver in front had turned around to assist diver 2, who was deploying his backup light after the primary light failed. Reconfiguring their formation to put the middle diver in front and diver 1 in the middle, they both witnessed Jared's light moving erratically and recalled hearing Jared screaming something trying to articulate a problem. When diver 1 reached Jared, he was already deep into a full seizure. His rebreather loop was not in his mouth, but was found afterwards to be closed. This suggests that Jared attempted to bail out from his rebreather to his open circuit air, but was not able to get his bailout regulator into his mouth in time. After unsuccessful attempts by diver 1 to secure Jared's airway, he proceeded to swim the still convulsing diver towards the exit, a distance of roughly 250 meters with several depth changes. When Jared finally stopped seizing after approximately 3 minutes, Diver 1 tried to insert a regulator into his mouth but was not able to unclench Jared's jaw. He then proceeded to swim him out of the cave. He signaled to Diver 2 to swim ahead and to alert the surface and call for assistance. A diver at the surface was able to meet them close to the exit and assist in bringing Jared up. Both divers surfaced after 31 minutes after leaving the wedding chamber, 17 minutes after the onset of the seizure. CPR was initiated immediately, and oxygen and an AED was ready within minutes after surfacing. Passing the rescue efforts to local EMS who responded to the scene, all resuscitation attempts by the team at the surface and EMS over the course of almost 2 hours remained unsuccessful. Jared was then pronounced dead. After communication with the deceased diver's family, it has come to light that he had an unprovoked seizure for the first time the previous year, and that there is a family history of medically unexplained seizures, in those cases connected to overexertion, stress, and dehydration. Jared told his dive partners that morning that he had slept well, was not jet-lagged, and was feeling rested that day. When reading about seizures in diving, a logical first conclusion people jump to is central nervous system oxygen toxicity, which presents in symptoms just as the ones described earlier. Plenty of literature is available on the topic, and training courses as early as open water courses cover the topic. Not to mention that rebreather divers are painfully aware of oxygen toxicity, which often can lead to injury and drowning while diving. The review of the logs of this dive does not support the theory of an oxygen-induced seizure. At no point during the event did Jared's oxygen level or cell rating spike significantly. The narrative suggests that Jared seemed to have felt the onset of a seizure, which makes an underlying medical condition more likely than an oxygen-induced seizure. Unprovoked seizures can develop suddenly and at any age. The risk of reoccurrence of a seizure after an individual has experienced a single unprovoked seizure has been published in a comprehensive literature review in 2023, and it states that the likelihood of a seizure reoccurrence is between 25% and 41% in the first 6 months to 2 years. After careful review and consultation with experts, authorities concluded that the tragic event was caused by a medical event and the predisposition of Jared, and that neither equipment failure or human error is responsible for the outcome. Jared was likely not aware of the implications that a first-time unprovoked seizure could have, and the dive team did everything humanly possible in this challenging environment to rescue the diver. In the months that followed the tragedy, the deputy mayor of Rana has said that there is no plans to close the Plura Cave following Jared's death. Rest in peace to Jared Hires, and condolences to Jared's wife Taylor and their 2 young children, and the rest of the Hires family.